as you begin to consciously pay attention to how you are feeling, and you begin to deliberately offer your thoughts with the intention of soothing that gap, of soothing that resistance, of allowing yourself to be a vibrational match to what you're asking for, as you begin to just focus a little more precisely, it's our promise to you that you will begin to feel a whole lot better. And on the heels of feeling a whole lot better, on the close heels of feeling a whole lot better, consistently better, all kinds of demonstrations that you're on the right path, meaning the path to what you are desiring, demonstrations to let you know that, and manifestations that are evidence of you and what you want being in the same vibrational place, and therefore being in the same manifested place. You can't be a vibrational variance and get it. It's just that simple. So recently, in one of the seminars, we made a statement that you inspired from us that said, when you don't say what you mean, the universe knows what you mean. So let's say that you are upset about something, but you're pretending that you are not. So you have a smile on your face and you're using those nice words, but you don't mean what you're saying. Well, the universe hears what you mean and responds to what you mean. So some have said, fake it until you make it. And we say, nice try. Because what you mean is what you mean, and what you mean is how you feel. So if you feel uncomfortable about something, you have to be the soother of that discomfort. You have to be the soother of that discomfort. And that's such an interesting thing, because you are surrounded by so many annoying people who, if they would just behave better, you would feel better. We know that's what you think. But we want you to begin now to take complete responsibility for the way you feel and let all of them off the hook for a few reasons, but this is the most important one. You can't control them. And when you try, you just mess your life up. And you teach yourself something over and over again. You try something that doesn't work over and over again until you begin to feel unworthy because what you want doesn't come, or defeated because it's harder than it ought to be. And so today we want to help you to come into awareness first, and you're so close to being there, in many cases already there, that it's going to be an easy conversation. Awareness of what you're doing vibrationally. And then we'll just talk for all of the time that we are together about ways, and you will help us demonstrate how to come into more steady vibration alignment with who you are. Now we know for some of you, if it's new in hearing that's sort of a boring, maybe even hard concept to get your thoughts around. But we promise by the time that we are at the ending today, you will understand that fully. Because nothing matters more than that you are moving in the direction of that which you have become. You don't have to be up to speed with it completely. You don't have to know it, because in the moment you know it, it's manifested, and there's a whole lot of fun on the journey. So we're not talking about closing the gap and standing there in a closed gap, because you were born into an experience where you intended to have plenty of step one moments where contrast causes you to ask. So you're going to ask all day, and you're going to have gaps always between who you have become and what you are allowing yourself to be. We're not talking about getting rid of that gap. We're asking you to manage it. We're asking you to enjoy the vibrational ride of moving in the direction of what you've become instead of moving in opposition to what you've become. That's all. Because there's always going to be a new desire. There's always going to be a new journey. There's always going to be more that you are on your way to allowing yourself to manifest fully. So we don't want you to be tentative and guarded about trying to control your thoughts. We want you to think clearly. We just want you to gently and often guide your thoughts in the direction of what feels good to you. Because when you guide your thoughts in the direction of what feels good to you, now you are on your path. Now you feel good. Now all is well. And did we say it's an eternal path? Did we say that it never ends? Did we say you never get it done and you can't get it wrong? Well, we want to say it's an eternal path. You never get it done, and you can't get it wrong either. You can't get it wrong. You can feel crappy. That's Esther's word. This says so much about so many things. You can feel bad, but you can't get it wrong because it's never done. Because in every one of those bad feeling moments, you're launching rockets and you've evolved to more. But what if you're on a path where you don't know this stuff or you're not applying it very well, and so you're launching a rocket and not keeping up with it, and so you don't feel so good. And so then you're moving through more contrast and launching another rocket and not keeping up with it, so you don't feel so good. Can you see how continuing to ask and not move in the direction of is what makes you feel uncomfortable? So stop it. So we just want to say to you, in the simplest way, you heard that so completely, that any time you're opening a path that's leading to something that you do not want, every time, no exceptions, you feel negative emotion. And every time you're opening a path that's leading you to something you do want, every single time, no exception, you feel positive emotion. We have enjoyed this interaction immensely. There isn't anything you need to know. If you are accepting that you are a vibrational being, and most of you are, there's not a shred of evidence to the contrary of anything that we speak, so accept it. Oh, that doesn't work, does it? Life will show you. Life will show you. So if you accept that you're a vibrational being, and if you accept that you're constantly emitting these vibrations, and that these vibrations, which are the same thing as your thoughts or your interests, past, present, or future, whether you're observing it or imagining it or remembering it, you're thinking about it. And if you're doing any of those things, you're offering a vibration, and if you're offering a vibration, then you're carving out a path of least resistance. So we began explaining to Esther that you've got 17 seconds to go down the wrong path a little bit. You've got 17 seconds before that momentum gets going, or before you reinitiate it again today, because you know what? And this is the most important thing. The paths that you've carved out before are irrelevant today. They're just easier to carve out today if you've carved them out before. But they're really irrelevant. In other words, it's today where all of your power is. So it's your propensity to lean in a direction of wanted or unwanted. It's your propensity to feel negative or positive. It's your propensity. Your mood is a propensity. It's not something that's stuck in your vibrational craw. It's not something that has been memorized that you can't get around. You are free to reset the button anytime. So there are paths of least resistance, and the paths of least resistance are the same thing as the path of most allowance. Sure. And so we're talking about allowing, not resisting, whatever we're giving our attention to. So we can be allowing things we want, or we can be allowing things we don't want. We can be resisting things we want. We could be resisting things we don't want. So is resisting things we don't want the same as allowing things we do want? Well, think about it. It's a trick question. If what we don't want is all clogged up, and what we do want is all open, then are we allowing what we do want while we are disallowing what we don't want? Now, you've been good students, and we've said you can't push against what you don't want, and so that's why you so quickly gave a formerly correct answer. But we're making it all so complicated. As you stand now, you don't have to worry about whether it's an old pipe or a new pipe. You don't have to figure any of that out. You don't have to figure out if it's in the vortex. You don't have to figure out if it's upstream or downstream. You don't have to figure, all you have to figure out is, how does this thought feel? And if this thought doesn't feel good, then you've got 17 seconds to change the subject. And if you've caught yourself early, you can easily do it in 17 seconds. It's like Esther loved the first time that she and Jerry came to San Francisco. It's the first time she saw those streets, those ridiculous streets. So imagine you're car at the top of the hill, and you just nudge it a little and it starts to move forward, and you're wise enough to know what's going to happen, so you step out in front of it and you stop the momentum before it gets out of hand. But imagine if you were at the bottom of the hill waiting to stop that momentum. So this is the same sort of thing. If you stop the momentum before it gets going, or better said, don't encourage the momentum, change your direction. We want to talk about how fun it is along the path, even when there is a little resistance. Because sometimes going down a path that has some resistance also brings more clarification about what you want. How are you going to know what you want if you don't have some variety in your experience? So we think that what's freaking you out, it does freak you out. We think that what's freaking you out about things that you desire that have not shown up fully in your experience is that you continue to be a vibrational variance to them, and that's the freak out. Everything that you want is because you think you will feel better in the having of it. Whether it's a material object or a pile of money or a relationship, a circumstance, an event, doesn't matter what it is. Everything that you want is because you believe you will feel better in the having of it. And as we are together today, and before you leave, we would like you to really come to realize that the having of it can happen immediately, the vibrational having of it. Now we know that's so annoying. You want the money in your bank and the lover in your bed and blah, 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 blah. We know. You want the materialization of it. But we want you to understand that if you can, just for a little while, focus upon the vibrational nature of your being, and just for a little while, use the emotional guidance system that you were born with that is explicitly about understanding that vibrational variance or absence of it. In other words, are you in alignment with what you're asking for, or are you in resistance to what you're asking for? So imagine that you're standing here as your point of attraction, and that law of attraction is going to help you rendezvous with everything that is vibrationally active within you. So it's like there's a pipeline between you and what you've been thinking about, wanted and unwanted. So we call this pipeline the path of least resistance, because as you think about it, you offer a thought that opens the pipeline. A thought that you hold for as little as 17 seconds is powerful enough. But once you cross the 17-second mark, we're not kidding you. This is precise. Another thought like it joins it. That thought's more powerful. So the path of least resistance between you and what you're thinking about is that much more. By the time you hold it for another 17 and then another 17, so you cross the 68-second mark, that path of least resistance is significant enough that there is going to be some demonstration to you if you're aware. The demonstration will come, you might miss it, but there's going to be some demonstration of the pathway you've laid. So Esther has some beautiful water features in Texas. It's at the Abraham Hicks Center, and there's a headwater and a little stream, and it comes down some rapids and falls into a bigger pond. And the stream was getting cloudy, and so it was finally determined, after trying a lot of different things, that the pipes that were putting the water back in, first pipes take it into the filter filters it and aerates it and puts it back into the stream, and those coming back in pipes were clogged. So the stream was cloudy, couldn't see the fish. So they just laid some new pipes, didn't dig the old ones up, they were buried really deep, just laid some new pipes, didn't bury them quite as deep. And now the pond is clear again. So we began saying to our friends, you friends, you may have some clogged pipes. Because if you're asking for things that aren't coming, it may be that you've got some clogged pipes. So it was a sort of fun analogy to play with. Let's get those pipes open. And the better you feel, the more your pipes are open. But then later the analogy began to evolve. And Esther heard us say, as she's listening back on one of the recordings, that those pipes closed up from neglect. And something about that just jumped out to her.